we don't know how long this is gonna last, you know. We don't know how long life is gonna last. It's been such an unpredictable year that has taught me that you can't count on something always being there. So just have fun with it, you know.
So, as I mentioned before the break, you got Dave Chapelle, Erykah Badu, and Stevie Wonder
It's
on Detroit
crazy.
too. But yeah, which is crazy, right? To get those people. But what I appreciated is that you had them talk about their experiences in Detroit. Now, Stevie Wonder, we know is from Detroit, so that
Right.
makes perfect sense. But
hmm
I actually asked you this first about Stevie. Like, I think I saw a picture of you guys in studio together, correct?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So, what was
Yes.
that like?
I'm from one of those households where Stevie Wonder got played all the time and got all the respect. You know, to me, he's the greatest singer, songwriter, artist of all time. You know, so um, he called me randomly one morning out of my sleep. Never, I've met him one other time in my life, like in passing, and he was like, "Hey, this is Stevie Wonder," and I really couldn't believe it. You know what I'm saying? I was like, I thought I was dreaming. I talked to him and he was like, "Yo, Detroit is going through COVID so badly right now. I wonder how we can team up together and help the city out." And we ended up doing some stuff behind the scenes to, just through our foundations and charity and whatnot. But he asked me what I was working on, and I told him I was working on this album called Detroit 2. And I was explaining it to him, and he was like, "Oh man, we got to link up in the studio. You got to come to my studio." So a little time had went by, and I was literally turning my album in like in the next couple of days, and I finally got a chance to. I mean, not I got a chance. He finally hit me up and was like, "Come to the studio." So I went to the studio, and he was like, "Man, I love to do a story for you, but I want to hear some of the music first." And I was like, "Okay, for sure." So I played him my album, and he was like clapping and like being like, "Man, this is a great work." Like, he was very proud. And to me, that was like one of the biggest moments of my life. He heard that song "Guard Your Heart" with me, Anderson .Paak, and Wale, and he was just like, "Oh my God," this is like, this is what I'm talking about. And he was like, "Man, I want to do music. I want to let's make some music together," which to me, that's a dream come true. And I was thinking about pushing my album back more, even though I'd already announced it, and like, trying to rush a collaboration with him as well, or like put him on one of the songs. But then I was like, man, this is something I can't rush. This is something I got to take my time with. This is like probably some of the most important music I could, think of in my life. So I was like, hopefully we are in the process of, putting some ideas together. So hopefully that works out. But he delivered such an amazing story and put his energy on this album. And I'm so thankful for that.
So you also, as I mentioned, have stories from Dave Chappelle and Erykah Badu. What made you choose them? How did this come about? Them telling stories about Detroit.
So with Dave Chappelle, it was like my dad went to his show in Detroit that he didn't have a good show, and my dad called me and was like, "Yo, I just was with Dave Chappelle." He was like, "Man, I was like, he was really like, he really had respect for me, man. He listens to your music. He really loved your albums." And I was like, "Oh, damn, tight." And then he was like, "Yeah, I was talking to him. I was kicking it with him in his dressing room." And sometimes I feel like my dad can over exaggerate things a little bit. So I'm on the phone with him, like, yeah, 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 cool, okay. And then a few months pass, and I'm getting off of a plane, and I see Dave Chappelle, and he's getting on a plane. And I'm like, "Oh, man, it's, Dave Chappelle, one of my idols." I'm like, I'm walking up to, or he's walking up to me, and he's like, "Yo, man, I love your dad, man." He shakes my hand. I'm like, "What?" He's like, "I love your dad, man." Like, he was like, "I love your music too, man. I love, everything you're doing, but I love your dad, man. He's a cool guy." And right then I like, he told me the whole story. And then, I told him what I was working on. And Dave was like, "Man, not only will I do that for you, but whatever else you have going on, like, I'm here to support you. We got to have each other's back." So I appreciate him for being so down to earth, and still such a goat, the legend that he is. And yeah, that was how it happened. My dad like was blowing me when he heard that skit on the album, so he's super happy.
So you got validated. And what about Erykah Badu?
So Erykah Badu, obviously, I'm a huge fan of just Erykah Badu. I didn't know her at all, and I reached out to her and just explained to her my album and like paying respect to Detroit. I know she did a lot of work with Jay Dilla. You know what I mean? Like some of the work that her and Jay Dilla did is like some of my favorite music she's ever done, and she was down. She was with it, and she told an amazing story and skit. And she's just like so cool, man. She's like one of the coolest.
Mm. I know, you've obviously put out a lot of music, and it's always unfair to ask an artist to rank where something is in their collection. I get it. But it sounds like you just went through so much with this one. Where do you put this compared to some of your other work? Where, in terms of your enjoyment of the project, in terms of how it came together, what you produced, like where would you place this among your work?
I would say number one, but that's just how I'm feeling right now. I think I could probably even more accurately answer that like in some years from now. But right now, I think it's my best work I've ever done. I think that all my albums have been different though. They've all have been, I feel like I Decided was different. Dark Sky Paradise, Detroit, the mixtape, like my first album, like all of them were just all different. I was in different stages of my life, going through different things and had different perspectives on things, so, but yeah, for me, Detroit 2 is like my number one right now.
Yeah, I can see that. Really, I was thinking about this, especially in listening to this album, like really your nickname should be Switzerland, because I find it very interesting that how you're able to have friendship with people who don't necessarily like each other. And I was thinking of this, of you, the fact that you're cool with Pusha T and Drake, correct?
Right.
Right. So how do you manage that when you have people that don't necessarily get along, but you get along with both of them? Like, how do you balance and maintain that neutralness, I guess?
I mean, for me, it's just like, look, none of us got time to be beefing with each other, period. Like it's time for us to all come together. So that's my mentality, one. Two, I know that all sometimes takes to fix things is a conversation and for people to understand where they're coming from, and it's different when it starts to get to like, there is a level of like, when it's like has to do with your mom, right? Or like stuff like that. But to me, rap beef for people who, people will be hating each other and then they cool a minute later. I've seen it happen 10,000 times, and that's not downplaying that situation at all. But that is truthfully between them. They're grown men. Yeah.
Well, we saw Drake and Meek Mill, right? Like there was
right.
something there. Then now they making dope songs together. Like
yeah, you know what I mean. So it just goes. It's just like it's just what happens. We human beings. We're not computers, so we are gonna have conflicts with each other that I think can be resolved. If that's what people want.
Now another, maybe not necessarily for you, but like sort of a bit of an awkward situation considering how the culture now looks at him. Obviously Kanye is he worked with you with this on this particular album. The culture is looking at Kanye side-eyed a little bit like, bro, what are you on right now? So for you, how are you able to, do you separate the two? Is that something you even broach into? Like how do you maintain that obviously very fruitful working relationship, knowing that there are a lot of your fans look at him like, we don't know what's up with this guy?
I mean, for me, he gave me an opportunity of a lifetime. He changed my life and, really, really gave me a chance to prove myself. So for that alone, like, I'm going to always have respect and love for him. You know what I'm saying? So that's just where I'm at with it. It's just like, he's a special guy. He's an individual who's like, talented beyond belief. So, that's what I focus on. You know what I mean?
Yeah. um, with now that you've gotten this, project complete and it's out, and at least from what I can tell, like a lot of people really love it. When you think about kind of how you want this next part of your career to go,
Mm-hmm.
what are some of the things that you feel like you want to accomplish? They don't necessarily have to be music related, but like, what do you feel like is left on the table for you to do?
Hmm. I mean, honestly, I've been able to collaborate with every artist that I've ever grown up respecting, or and not only collaborate but get respect from them back. That's been a great accomplishment for me, and I don't take it for granted. So I think the next part of my career is just focusing on uplifting people, giving them opportunities, putting them in positions that, they could thrive, and, you know, uh, just having fun, man. Just having fun with the music and with the experience of it all, because we don't know how long this is gonna last, We don't know how long life is gonna last. It's been such an unpredictable year that has taught me that you can't count on something always being there. So just have fun with it.
How concerned are you about the music industry? Not that it's going away, so I don't mean it like that, but with COVID and with us not knowing when all of this is going to be over, if we'll ever get back to normal, it's going to have a dramatic effect on performing, right? Because, like, people can't perform right now. So
Mhm.
thus, a lot of musicians can't make money. What are your concerns about what this this virus, how it will maybe permanently impact the music industry?
Well, I believe in I believe in it's always gonna work out for the best. I always believe that no matter how bad things get, I always keep that mentality and that mindset. Like, it's always gonna work out for the best, even if it's not the way we intended it to, not the way we wanted. Even if it takes us off our path that we were on, it's probably only to just get to a bigger and better path. So I think that as a music industry, they'll find ways to suffice that. I just really miss that interaction with, like, that human interaction, like being on stage and like a crowd of people or a venue full of people. Like, I feel like that energy exchange is like unmatched. You can't really get that from anything else. So I pray that it does come back soon safely. And I pray that I just pray that all the musicians out there just, I hope they take advantage of this time. Now is the time to keep feeding the people who need it. Now more than ever, we need not only artists' music, we need the best music that they can give. We need the best work that you can give people, because we need to be uplifted and we need to be like entertained and inspired.